Hello, everyone, and welcome to hopefully a new ongoing series here on the channel called Personal Movie Classics Reviews, where I review movies that I not only loved from my childhood, but still hold up well for me to this day. And hopefully, you guys get to like this series, find this new series interesting. And also, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It'll really help me out as a YouTuber. Thank you very much. Today on this episode, I am going to be reviewing a movie that I have not seen, that I have now watched in over a decade. A movie that, surprisingly to me, still held up well for me. Now, granted, I know this movie still to this day doesn't get a whole lot of love. But personally, I don't think this movie's as bad as what a lot of people think of it. Make it out to be, excuse me. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Tim Story's Fantastic Four from 2005. As you can see, I have the DVD of it right here. And for you guys who are new to me, new to my channel, I am a huge fan of the Fantastic Four. They were the first group of Marvel characters that I got introduced to, that I got exposed to as a kid. As a matter of fact, the Fantastic Four was my introduction to the Marvel Comics universe. And ever since then, I have never looked back. Now, I remember seeing the coming attractions to this movie as a kid, and me being absolutely in love with the trailers, me being so hyped for this film. As a matter of fact, I know it's gonna sound like a really weird take. Hold on one second, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. I was actually, believe it or not, this may sound like a very odd thing to say, but I was actually more hyped for this movie than I was for Batman Begins back in 2005. Don't get me wrong, Batman Begins is by far the better movie, but at that time, we'd already seen Batman in movies. Prior to that point, I had never seen a Fantastic Four movie. Now, granted, this was prior to the fact that I had known of the existence of the unreleased Roger Corman-produced Fantastic Four film from the 90s. And honestly, when I saw this movie in theaters, I freaking loved it. Granted, I did have some issues with the film, but overall, I came out loving the film. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of text. Oh, yes. Now, even though I watched it this past Saturday with my good friend Thomas Leedy, and surprisingly, this movie still held up well for me. Now, do I have some issues with the movie? Yes. One, the dialogue. I'm not saying it was all bad, but there were certain parts of the film where the dialogue could have been a whole lot better. Number two, the CGI was both hit and miss. There were certain points where the CGI felt looked good, and there were other points where the CGI, I'm like, yeah, that's crappy. Now, I know the biggest negative surrounding this movie is Doctor Doom. Now, Julian McMahon, the actor that played Doctor Doom in this movie, as well as the 2007 sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, is recently deceased. I didn't think he did all that bad of a job with the character. Now, granted, they got the character's powers and abilities wrong, very much so. But in terms of his character, personality, and ego, I thought they did a very solid job. Plus, he did look good in the outfit, but yes, they did get his powers and abilities wrong. But the biggest gripe I have with this movie, that this movie did not really do well enough in capturing the core aspect of the Fantastic Four, unlike the most recent Four film that came out last year, and that is the aspect of family. What makes the Fantastic Four special is that they are a family. They're not just, as I said, they're not just a team, they are a family. That's what makes them so unique and special. That's why they've been called, since the 1960s, Marvel's first family. You know what I mean? And that's what really aggravated me in a lot of ways with this movie. Don't get me wrong, it did make me hate the movie, did make me despise the movie in any way, but it did disappoint. But that was the biggest gripe I had with this movie. Now, as for everything else, I thought the story was overall pretty decent, respectable, modern origin and introduction for the Fantastic Four, especially at that time. I thought the action for the most part was pretty solid. The cast, even though I overall enjoyed Julian McMahon's portrayal of Doctor Doom, I actually liked the main. Now, even though I do like the current cast of the current Fantastic Four cast in the MCU, I also have a huge soft spot for this cast. I mean, let me start off with Mr. Ian Grufford as Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. He was excellent in this movie. I mean, in my opinion, not only did he look the part, but he played the part brilliantly. Chris Evans, who we all know and love as Captain America Steve Rogers in the MCU, he was great as Johnny Storm. I think his portrayal of Johnny Storm is a bit underappreciated in a lot of ways. I think he did an outstanding job as Johnny Storm in this movie, as well as the 2007 sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Granted, I'm a bigger fan of his portrayal of Captain America simply because I'm a bigger Captain America Steve Rogers fan than I am a Johnny Storm fan, but he did a great job with this character nonetheless. Jessica Alba, even though I prefer Vanessa Kirby's interpretation so far anyway, I thought Jessica Alba did a decent job as the character. You know, obviously I know she's the eye candy in this movie because, you know, her status as a sex symbol, but overall she did a decent job as the character. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Michael Chiklis, aka Ben Grimm / The Thing. Now, I know a lot of people hated his Sting costume. Personally, I had mixed feelings about it. And as a kid, I had mixed feelings. When I first saw him in his Sting suit as a kid, I kind of had mixed things about it. And honestly, as a 31-year-old man, I still do to this day. I'm like, you know what? It could have been better, but at the same time, it could have been worse. But at the same time, though, I got to give Michael Chiklis his flowers. He did a brilliant job portraying Ben Grimm / The Thing in this movie. As a matter of fact, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I actually prefer Michael Chiklis' Thing voice than I do Christian Bale's Batman voice. I'm sorry, but even though I tolerate it nowadays, I'm still not the biggest fan of Christian Bale's Batman voice. That, of course, is just my opinion. But overall, do I think Tim Story's Fantastic Four from 2005 is a terrible film? Hell no, I think it's a fun film. I think this is a very fun film. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10, which is a B plus in my opinion. I know to a lot of people it may seem a B plus, maybe a low A minus. I know to a lot of people that may seem a bit high, but then again, this is my channel, this is my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion, whether you think it stinks or not, whether you think it's good or bad, whether it's popular or unpopular, it's my opinion. And this movie still held up well for me. So, overall, I like this movie. As I said, prior to the last Fantastic Four film, I really enjoyed was this movie. And, yeah. Also, please stay tuned for my video game review of the 2005 movie Tie-In Game. FYI, it's a lot of fun, and to me the best Fantastic Four game I've ever played, and to me the best Fantastic Four game that is out there. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoy, hope you guys like this series, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.